call here. You in Charlotte County?
Yeah. Are you at down at the Florida Gulf Coast University?
Actually, I'm at the Charlotte County Chamber of Commerce. That's
okay.
So all you got to do is call the Charlotte County Chamber of Commerce. It's 941-627-2222. Right? But you can always get a hold.
Chamber of Commerce. Yeah.
Okay.
Charlotte. 941-627-2222.
Let's get on, please. Hi, this is LaShawn.
Hi, LaShawn.
Hi.
Are we trying to mute everybody? Oh.
Yeah, somebody needs to mute because I hear some background noise.
Yeah.
I hear static.
Yeah, I do too. If we can just have everybody mute their system.
Right. I prefer they self-mute, so for questions and answers at the end, they can be able to answer.
That's fine. I think that has stopped now. So
great. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so it's just you and I on the speaker.
Yes, and I'm going to mute myself, Pete.
Okay, well, you can be on if you want to. It's all right. So you can tell me what's going on. Are we full, LaShawn?
No, we can hold up to 100 people. Okay. And so it's just a quarter till, so we'll have more people coming on.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know whether there were others that someone had said they couldn't get on. It was full. So
no, I can hold up to 100.
Okay. All right. Good.
I do want to remind everybody, thank you for being here, that there is a chat. So if you have specific questions, put them in the chat and Pete will be able to look at the chat, make sure it goes out to everyone so he can respond to any questions that you may have.
Do we have the question now or later?
Pete will have a Q&A session at the end, but if you put your question in the chat now, he'll be able to see it right away and be able to respond to you.
Yeah. Is the Florida program different than the SBA program?
If you could please put your question in the chat right now and wait for the Q&A, he'll be able to answer all of the questions for you.
My question was, is the Florida program different than the SBA?
I'm here.
Sir, go ahead and put your...
No, I haven't said anything.
Go ahead. I can hear you. Go ahead and put your question in the chat. We don't want anyone to miss any of the questions. And the Q&A.
Oh, I pulled up the bridge loan meeting in the background. Maybe that's what you guys heard.
Yes, and if you could please mute yourself, we can hear your conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
But that issue with regard to two different EIN numbers, they're two different companies, so there would be two different applications to that individual asking that question. And if there are in Broward County, I would suggest that they contact the Small Business Development Center in Broward County. And they can look that up online, SBDC Florida locations, and they'll be able to find that phone number. You're welcome, Salvador. And I would say, Salvador, if you don't get a call back, be persistent, give calls.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining with us today. If you have any questions, feel free to put the questions in the chat. Pete will be able to answer them at the end of this webinar. Hope everyone is doing well.
Regarding the bridge loan amount, right now it's quite a bit of money, and we're dealing with $50 million, but it always seems to be a bottomless pit when it comes to emergency funds. So we've never had a situation in the last 16 years that I can remember. I've been involved with all the emergencies that we've run out of money for SBA bridge loans.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're just about 5 minutes from the start of the presentation. If you could please mute yourself. If everyone could please. Hi, everybody. Our program will be beginning in 4 minutes. If you can, take the opportunity to mute yourselves and ask any questions you have in the chat, and Pete will answer them at the end of this presentation.
Where's the chat?
On the bottom.
Oh, thank you.
Please mute your phone.
Okay. Did that do it?
Nope. Mute is over on the left-hand side, on the bottom. Just click on it. It's still on.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're excited that you're here to learn about the Florida Emergency Bridge Loan. Pete will begin in just about 2 minutes. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. And for everyone else, please mute yourselves until Q&A. Thank you.
On that question of the 50,000 that just came in, I can answer that right away. There are special situations for $100,000, but they are going to be determined individually by those applicants and their funds and their finances. So to answer the question, it can go up to $100,000, but it's going to be specific on your needs and abilities to repay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Florida SBDC at Florida Gulf Coast University's presentation on the Florida Emergency Bridge Loan. We appreciate you all being here today. We're going to ask for everyone to mute themselves until Q&A. Pete Keating is our presenter today. And why don't we go ahead and get started?
Oh, good morning, everyone. And a little bit of background information. I have been with the, this is actually my 16th year with the Small Business Development Center. And I am the Charlotte County business consultant here. So I'll be helping those people in Charlotte County specifically as part of our Southwest Florida regional program, which takes into consideration 5 counties, Lee, Collier, Henry, Glades, and of course, Charlotte County. And we do also help people from Northport in the area and some from DeSoto. I have been involved in these types of programs right from the beginning in Hurricane Charlie. So I'm very familiar with the Small Business Development Center's bridge loan program and their federal disaster program, both of which are available to businesses at this particular time and to individuals. So we'll be going over a lot of that. I would like to to start by saying that getting in contact with us is very important at Florida SBDC. And the main number for our campus at Florida Gulf Coast University is 239-745-3700. All right, and of course you can see right there on the slide, it's Florida SBDC at FGCU. As far as Charlotte County is concerned and where I am, for those of you who are in this area, my office is at the Charlotte County Chamber of Commerce, which is 2702 Tamiami Trail. And our phone number here, we are still here, even though we're at a locked door. We're not seeing people face to face, but we are still physically present here. The phone number here is 941-627-2222. And if for whatever reason we close and you still need to get a hold of me for any particular questions or specifically for the county, you can always reach me at P. Keating, and that's K-E-A-T as in Tom, I-N-G, at FGCU, that's short for Florida Gulf Coast University, .edu, so that you'll have enough information to get a hold of us if necessary. To begin, the Small Business Development Center Emergency Bridge Loan Program, better known as EBL, is now in full effect. And as one of the questions on here about the $50,000 is the limit as far as monies being provided for businesses in the area. This can go to $100,000 in special situations. And those circumstances would have to be by letter and certainly explained why the need for that money. And it will be based upon the background of the business and the need. So that is an important consideration. I would also say up front that the deadline for these applications is May 8th at this particular point. In the past, they have extended those deadlines depending upon the emergency, but right now, May 8th is the deadline for the applications. Now, to get down to some of the specifics and the information with regard to this, the site that you need to go on with regard to this is floridadisasterloan.org. I'll repeat that, floridadisasterloan.org. And on that site, you will actually see on the left-hand side availability to check for the application and for the eligibility requirements that are necessary. We certainly, in our role here at SBDC, we will help you on each and every requirement to explain what it is and how to do this. There are some confusing points with the requirements, and certainly there will be questions about how to overcome those issues, and we're certainly here to be able to do it. Whether you call the office here in Charlotte County, if you're a Charlotte County resident, or whether you are in another county in Southwest Florida, or any of the counties. In fact, all 67 counties are involved in this, and there are 13 regional SBDC offices in Florida. So looking in your particular county for the proper connection would be important, because it will be through them that you will send your application and support documentation. With regard to the yearly term, it's a year for this loan, and it is a loan to be paid back. If in essence you cannot pay this back within the year, and I will get into that later when we talk about the federal disaster loan, but just to let people know, this can be paid back through a federal disaster loan, which you can take out as well. And that's one of our slides today, and I'll show you that as well. The company must have at least 2 employees by W-2 or 1099, all right? And from 2 to 100 employees, as you can see on here, are what are required. It was some misunderstanding in the past with SBA bridge loans that you could have less than 2 employees, but that is not true for this bridge loan. You must have at least 2 employees. The owner of the business, 51%, must have a credit score of 680 or better. And there has been some question with regard to how do I find that out. The bank checking credit scores is going to be checking through Experian.com, and that is the one. For those of you who have never looked at your credit report, for example, you can obtain a free credit report once a year through annualcreditreport.com. That would be, and they will send you all 3 credit reports, but that will give you the actual FICO score that you will need to be able to apply. There may be extenuating circumstances where the owner of the company may be retired or doesn't have a high score. Those things we will handle individually if there is a situation like that. So again, contacting us for that information would be important. Right? Filling out the application and making sure that you're providing the right support documentation is going to be an important element, and it will go to the actual SBDC office in the county in which you reside. So if you're in Charlotte County, you're going to send that information to me, all right? Calling me by phone through the switchboard and then getting the right information on sending it in would be important. And that information, that the support documentation, and we will review all of that information to make sure it's complete. If there are any questions about it, we'll get back to you right away. As you can see on the documentation, you need both sides of your driver's license, not just one side. Right? That signed application is important. 2 years of tax returns from both the business and your personal returns. And now a question came up about the business tax returns. I'm not in business for 2 years. I'm in business for only a year. Not a problem. You send in what returns you have, but you must be in business before this whole activation went into place. Someone asked me today, hey, I want to start my business now. Can I apply? No, you will not be allowed to take part in the loan program if you're just starting the business today. It's too late for that. Right? If you wish to include an interim 2020 P&L, profit and loss sheet, that's okay. You can do it. It's not a requirement, though. Right? Any additional information? There are going to be other things that are going to be required in the closing process, but in essence, this will be what you will have to fill out on that application. We go over that, and we're going to go over it very, very quickly and make sure we get back to you right away. These are for-profit businesses. This will not be available for nonprofit companies, all right, as far as the business disaster bridge loan. On the other hand, the federal loan, that's another question, and we'll get to that. And there may be some opportunity for those people to apply from a nonprofit point of view. Now, there's a step process, and I'll go over it again, determining your eligibility and looking to make sure that your company is eligible and that you are eligible as an owner of the company. Downloading that application form is important, making sure that you get the right one, and it is the right one online at this particular point on floridadisasterloan.org. Getting the documents together, all of your support materials and everything. And I would mention that you should scan these documents into your system so that you can email them and to our Dropbox, and we will give you that information once you call us to tell us that you're doing this, so that we can put them in the right positioning and to review this and get them to our main office, where there will be a committee down in Fort Myers to review these, to make sure that they are complete again at a second stage of reviewing, and then to send them off to Florida First Capital for the credit score, getting the credit score to make sure your credit score is appropriate, and then proceeding with the closing. If for whatever reason you do not qualify and you are found not to qualify, you will receive a letter from us about your not being able to qualify. Otherwise, you'll get a return mail about the procedure for our closing documents. And those closing documents, just to give you an idea, and they're not listed here on the website, but I will tell you that they'll include a promissory note, a business purpose statement, a loan settlement statement, an assignment of proceeds from other sources, closing checklist, and payment coupons. So you will see that. I will also like you to know that if it comes to the point at the end that you can't pay it, or that it's not paid in full by the end of the year term, you will be assessed a 12% interest rate on that loan from day one of its approval. Right? And as I understand it also, if it goes beyond 120 days after that, it will be sent to a collection agency, and there may be other interest added on. So it is very important for you to consider the repayment plan for your company and ability to repay this particular loan. Now, there is and if we can switch, we'll go to the next slide. It's the federal, I mean, certainly, you know, applying for the loan. You can go right to the end, to the next page. The federal, this is the US SBA economic disaster loan, the federal end of it. And as you can see, you have to, and this is a federal loan that is a lot more, it's a different, in addition to, and certainly can be used to pay back the bridge loan if it comes to that point. And you should really consider that ahead of time. I have some music there. So substantial economic injury is very important. They have their own application, and certainly going on the website, you'll find the SBA economic disaster loan for that. And when they say not to have credit elsewhere, they're looking for other money elsewhere that you're able to survive. So you have to show this substantial economic injury directly toward the event. And certainly if you've had to close down your business or you've had problems, that certainly can be a good reason for that. The loan amount for the economic disaster loan is up to $2 million for large employers. The interest rates are 3.75%. And that maximum goes out to 30 years. Doesn't necessarily have to be that, and certainly you can structure it in different ways. And of course, there are installment and payments corresponding maturity based on the borrower's ability to repay. But I would stress that if it gets to a point at the end of the bridge loan where you cannot pay this back, that you really consider the federal loan as a way to avoid a 12% interest rate on what you have borrowed if it becomes $50,000. With that, have covered a lot of, if not all of the issues. Oh, one other thing here. There have been some people looking at trying to send their completed application to our state office at Pensacola, the SBDC main office. That's going to delay things if that happens, because they're only going to send it back to the regional office. And that regional office may even send it back to a home office like mine here in Charlotte County to review for completeness. So we have to go through the process from the local level to the state level. I would also mention that if for whatever reason you make a mistake on your application, there is no process in place for amending that application. So if you're not qualified because you made a mistake, you will not be able to amend it. So with that, well, Sean, I think we can be open for questions, and I can take a look at what we have here. All right.
There was one question, how are the loan limits for the bridge loan being determined? It was answered before everybody was on, so might be good to go
Sure.
over.
Yeah, they came up with a number of $50 million. But I think, and it has been in the case in the past as well, that number can change depending upon the need. So it's been my experience that we have never really had to go over that, but they would add to it. If, in fact, I have to correct myself. We did have a case where we did go over the amount and they added to the amount of money available for people. So we've always jokingly referred to it as a bottomless pit, but still, they're going to make sufficient amount of funds available for the need that's out there. Let's see.
Hi, can I ask something about that specific subject, about the limit?
We're trying to go through the chat box, but since you're online, go ahead.
Okay, so about the limits, how are they going to determine for a business individually? How much will the business need? Because it says up to $50,000, but that means that it could be less. How do they
Yes.
determine who needs what?
You're going to be the determining factor on basis of your particular needs. You're going to be applying for a certain amount of money. So if you're only going to need $20,000 or $25,000, less than 50, you're going to be asking for that amount, right? You can go up to 50,000, but you can ask for less.
Okay, thank you.
They're going to approve you based on, if you ask for $20,000 and you have the funds to repay your business and your P&Ls show that you have that cash flow, then there wouldn't be any problem approving you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Now there is a question here, do employees have to be, and I can't read the rest of it here. I'm not sure what that is. If you're in Lee County, you're going to call Lee County. You do not have to call me. You would call Suzanne Speck in Lee County, who is handling the loan applications for Lee County at the 3700 number. And I will give you her direct extension. It is 239-745-3704. That is Suzanne Speck in Lee County. That is the person that you would contact for Lee County. Let's see. Now, what I'm asking people to do at this particular point is to call the office. If it's me, to call me directly, and then I will give you that email address in order to send your documentation, because I'll need to speak to you about how to send it in. So please make the phone call before you just arbitrarily send information. Right. For Collier County at this particular point, I would call Lee County and Suzanne Speck for that information at 239-745-3704. Now there is a reach out for whoops. Let me see here. I'm sorry, I got offline. Orange County. Someone's in Orange County. And I am not sure who the SBDC responsible for Orange County is.
I'll get that information.
But again,
I'll get the Orange County information and put it in the chat. Lindsay
Okay.
Perslove is asking a question. since terms are so high for 1 year, is it better to just apply for the federal loan instead, especially if customers don't come back right away to ensure cash flow being there?
Certainly, that would be a good decision based on the amount of time that you may need to come back. That federal loan will give you up to 30 years. Again, they're going to be looking at substantial economic injury. And for larger companies, that is really what they're doing. I have already had 3 major companies here in Charlotte County, larger companies, actually apply for the federal loan and the bridge loan together to hedge their bets.
We have another question. Are bank statements not required?
You're going to have tax returns, and there will be some on the closing documents. They may look for bank statements depending upon what their need is, but pretty much they're going to look at your tax returns, both personal and federal. Right? There is really no with regard to the bank statement at this point, and I hesitate only because in the past there have been some cases where bank statements were necessary to prove an issue in their business profit and loss statement, but they're not part of the closing documents at this point or the application documents.
All right. We've got a question. Can you apply for both or just one SBA loan?
You can apply for both.
Mm-hmm. Galaxy A20 is asking, only one owner needs to apply per, say, higher credit earner. I'm not understanding that, Galaxy A20. Why don't you unmute to ask the question? You're unmuted. Galaxy A20, go ahead and ask your question.
I think I know the answer though, LaShawn.
Okay.
With regard to, because I had someone who had 4 equal owners of a company and only one was at 680 or better, the rest weren't. And it's not just one owner here because they're always looking at a 51% owner, but you've got 4 individual equal owners at 25%. That's going to require a letter, probably extra substantiation to make sure that the business is qualified to receive the loan and be able to repay.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is the answer, I'm not sure Galaxy has, but.
Tracy K is asking, does this include agricultural as well?
It does for the federal loan. And you mean for the business, for the bridge loan? It would as well, but the federal loan specifically, because they're usually larger companies, it's specifically allowed in the federal or the disaster loan, the larger loan.
Okay, so Megan appears that she's already mailed her information to Pensacola. She's wondering when she should hear from someone. Megan, what county are you located in? She's in Orange County. Okay, I put the Orange County in the chat for you before. I'm going to copy and paste it again. You should contact Orange County. The SBDC at FGCU covers Lee, Collier, Charlotte, Henry, Glades counties. So we serve 5 counties.
Yeah. The Orange County SBDC should be able to contact Pensacola regarding that and maybe expedite that application being sent back to them maybe for review.
Okay. Galaxy A20 has another question. Mm-hmm. What documents do we need before? And Rob is asking, should I apply through my bank?
Yeah. No, we're here. We're actually the point person. The bank's probably going to send you to us anyway with regard to the SBDC bridge loan. So I would suggest you contact one of our offices to apply. Right? And what was the other question, LaShawn? I missed.
What other documents do they need before closing for a full package?
Yeah, that full package in the, it's right on the website there on floridadisaster.org. And they're listed specifically on there. And you should be able to see, and I'm just pull out here. You have your application. You've got two tax returns for the business and two for the personal. You know, your driver's license, both sides of your driver's license are going to be required as well. And
Right, Kathleen is asking, any information on government money to help small business owners recover that does not need to be paid back?
there is no information to that point right now. I think she's probably asking for grant money or that type of, and there's no information on that at this point.
Mm-hmm. Salvador was asking, is the survey completion required?
Survey?
Yes. Salvador, I'm unmuting you so you can ask your question a little bit differently.
Sure. When I logged into the Florida Disaster Loan website, there is a portion that says to complete a survey to kind of like let the governor know how much money is needed. And I started doing it. However, it's confusing because it's asking me for 2019, what was my revenue, and for 2020, what is my revenue now, so they can see the difference of how I've been affected by all this. However, the biggest time when we're gonna be affected is March, which is just getting started. So it's really hard for me to put in a definite number right now.
I think,
but I do need to apply right now.
yeah, they're just looking for an approximation, Salvador. So I don't think, you know, being right on the penny is going to be important. You can just, your best estimate would be sufficient for that.
Mm-hmm. And,
okay, thank you.
Megan is asking, do you have to have a credit score of 680 or better to be approved?
The answer is yes. That is the bottom line limit that they're looking for as far as your credit score for the primary owner and of the company, correct? Let's see. Anything we missed? Did we miss any other questions here?
I'm going through them now.
Yeah.
What email address, Jack? Jack, what county are you in? You can unmute yourself, Jack. Jack, you're unmuted.
I'm in Collier.
Oh, okay. So you will send it to sbdc@fgcu.edu. If you want to specifically, you can go ahead and send it to Suzanne because that's who it's going to get forwarded to. I'm going to put her email address again in the notes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We got another one in regards to employee requirements. Do they have to be full-time employees?
W-2, 1099, they can be 1099 employees as well. You just have to show salary, payroll, show that they're being paid. So 1099s are acceptable.
Galaxy A20 is asking, what interest rate is the loan? Is it a fixed payment, paying principal, and interest, or interest only?
We're talking about a no-interest bridge loan. There is no interest on this bridge loan if it's paid back within the year. So it's that 12% is only going to be put into effect if the loan is not paid back in full at the end of the year. So that interest rate, and they haven't given any specifics, and I'm not sure exactly how that's going to be levied, but 12% is the number they're using.
Galaxy A20, and you are unmuted, Galaxy A20, but it says that they're given the payment amount of $50,000 and $25,000. Which is it?
No, it's up to $50,000 at this point. There is no $25,000 loan. There had been in the past, and there was a mistake made on an earlier application. So this is up to $50,000. So the amount of money is going to be determined by the business, what they will need, and then they'll apply for that.
Mm-hmm. Kathleen is looking for some, hi Kathleen. Kathleen is looking for some clarity about the 1 calendar year. Is it to the end of 2020 or a calendar year from when you received the loan?
It's going to be from when you receive the loan, the date you receive the loan. It'll be that 1 year from that date.
Okay, Salvador is asking about the last question. She's asking specifically, Salvador, I think that you are unmuted. Go ahead and ask the question.
Yes, because the last question I asked, Pete answered about the 1099 employees, but I was not concerned about the 1099 employees. I'm more concerned if a company has mainly part-time employees, do they still qualify?
Yeah. Well, you say part-time employees, there's still going to be 1099 people, aren't they? If they're, I mean, unless they're under $600 a year.
Yes, definitely. So I have 1 full-time employees and 5 part-time employees.
Yeah. I mean, if they're part-time employees, you're giving them a 1099, that will qualify you from the.
No, I'm giving them a W-2. They're employees, they're just part-time.
Oh, that's fine. Then that is fine. You'll be qualified.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Pete, we have a question looking for clarification between the SBA bridge loan and the federal disaster loan.
Mm-hmm. What is the question?
What's the difference?
Well, the bridge loan is a very specific loan, short-term loan to help people in need right at this particular point. It's mainly a bridge loan, that's all. That federal loan is certainly longer range, up to 30 years for companies, larger companies that need more time to recoup their finances and put their business back online. So I know there were questions earlier, if your business is such that you're going to need more time or need more money, certainly it's up to $2 million, all right? So you're not capped at the 50,000 or potentially 100,000. If you need more money than that, then the federal loan is what you want to apply for, all right? The larger companies are going to do that. The smaller businesses that we have in the neighborhood that may not need that amount of money are only going to ask for what they need now to keep themselves going until business picks up again. So, and the major difference is a question of how much time that you're going to need to recoup and the amount of money that you're going to need to make your business operational again.
All righty. We've got a question from Jack. Can you add a co-signer? Can you, if your credit score is below 680?
They have made the point of it's the business owner at 51% that has to be the individual for that. I would say that we would probably have to handle that individually and ask that specific question because there isn't a definitive answer at this point that I know of with regard to a co-signee on a loan like that. In the past, I will say that I've never had a co-signee get approved. So again, we're going to have to ask that question specifically of them to see if that's something that could be approved. We don't have that definitive answer right now.
Okay. Kathleen is asking, what is the interest rate on the federal loan?
3.75%, I thought 3 point, isn't that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
3.75%.
Galaxy A20, how long does it take to obtain the funds once you have an approved package?
Oh, well, if it has been approved, that means that the closing documents will be sent to the individual. All right, I'm taking the approval of, yes, it's going through, you're going to get your closing documents. And my past experience on this, if you get them right away and get the people, and it's usually within a week, right?
Mhm.
And I also understand that this is, in the past, we used to do it by coming in and would be a check issued through the SBDC office, but now they're going to do automatic deposit, ACA deposit. So that's going to go right to the bank, to your account, to your business account. So it probably is going to cut down on a lot of the time of having documents sent to us. Once it's approved and the closing documents are finished and sent in, it would happen right away. So within a week or so is probably what I would estimate.
Right. Lindsay is asking, is the federal loan a fixed rate, and does it have the same requirements as the bridge loan?
It's a fixed rate, that 3.75%. It's a fixed rate, and certainly you get a certain period of time to pay that back. If you don't pay back a federal disaster loan, I mean, there are going to be penalties too. They haven't really made any comment about that interest rate, but it's probably a similar rate as the bridge loan. But given the amount of time, they've also, in some cases, extended that term depending upon the business and the appeal process that may be possible on the federal side. And we have had a couple of loans in the past that have had terms extended a little bit if they took 5 years and they needed 10. But I would always suggest when people fill these out, when we go through them, that they take a conservative approach and look at the maximum amount of time they could pay this back so that they don't get into trouble. They will have the ability to pay it back.
Okay. I just want to acknowledge Kay Benavides, that I do see your complaint. And so we don't want to ignore that. If you want to talk to someone in your offices, we can help address that. Some of what you're saying is out of our control. I don't see a specific question for this webinar right now, but we hear you and we understand the stress that you're under. So I do want to acknowledge that we see your information there. We do have a question from Kathleen. She asked, can I get 2 loans if I have 2 locations?
If it's one business, you're going to get 1 loan. If it's 2 separate businesses, we had a question earlier, 2 different EIN numbers, 2 different owners, there could be more than 1 loan applied to that. But just, you will only get 1 loan, even though you may have, if it's 1 business.
Okay. Galaxy A20 as meaning principal and interest on the federal loan. Galaxy A20, can you speak? You are unmuted.
Yes.
There you are. Hi.
I didn't know how to do it. Sorry. Yes, hi, how are you? On the 3.75% fixed rate, you mean everyone is paying interest and principal?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to do it just like a regular loan repayment, correct?
Okay, thank you.
I'm glad you were able to get through.
Yeah.
So we're at 11:40, and I don't see any other questions coming through. If you have a question and we've not answered it, go ahead and unmute yourself so we can make sure that we address your questions. And if you're trying to unmute and you can't, let me know. Okay, we've got here email for Suzanne. It's expect@fgcu.edu. Salvadora, you are unmuted. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, I know this is an emergency bridge loan call, but you did, Pete, presented in your presentation about the SBA economic injury loan. one of the requirements was that you are supposed to apply for that loan. You cannot qualify to have the loan elsewhere. I'm sorry, you shouldn't. I mean, if you can get the loan elsewhere, you don't qualify for the SBA loan. My question is, but elsewhere is going to charge you a higher interest. Do you know anything about that?
And I will say that having the money or availability of funds elsewhere it's always been a bone of contention, misunderstanding. Some people have loans in existence where they have been borrowing money and have availability to borrow money, and that is loan money elsewhere. But it doesn't mean that you have to go someplace else to get a loan because you qualify somewhere else. So don't look at, I would say, don't look at this as a, well, I have the ability to borrow somewhere else, so I shouldn't be able to qualify for this. That doesn't mean that. I think it's more or less looking at what people have money available in other places, so they don't need this loan. So hopefully that helps you. It's not that you have to borrow somewhere else, because you can, if you can understand that.
Hello.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello. Go
Hello?
ahead and ask your question. Yes.
Hi. Okay. So for the both of the loan programs, we don't need to go to the bank. The bank is
No.
going to send it to you, right? For both.
Right. You don't go to the bank for this. You're going to fill out the application, the information, and come to us with the materials, the application and your support documents. Okay? All right. It's not the bank that is doing this. The Small Business Development Center is coordinating this program. In essence, what we're doing is reviewing all these documents, making sure that everyone's qualified, and then they are being sent to Florida First Capital. Florida First Capital is the bank, all right, Northern Florida, that has that money available to it, you know, from the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and they're going to be doling it out that way. Okay, that's the bank that inevitably will give you the money. Okay.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Karen Smith came in a little bit late. She was wondering about what documentations are needed.
Well, again, I would say that she should go on floridadisasterloan.org. That website, that'll give her all the specific documents that are required for the loan. And we've gone over them a couple of times. You know, with regard
I'm pulling them up, Pete.
you
Just
can
in
pull them
case.
up. Yeah, you can get to that screen. You'll see them that are there. Your driver's license, the application, 2 years of returns, personal and business. You don't have to have the 2020 optional in there. And when it says additional information, a lot of people include a letter and specifics with regard to their personal situation in the business, depending upon a need that they may have that they want to communicate that might help the committee reviewing this to understand that they need the money and that they are qualified to repay it. All right.
Karen has a follow-up question. What about a business plan?
A business plan is not required for the loan. I would be remiss as a business consultant if I said that you shouldn't have one. And I'll take that opportunity to say that the business plan is also your exit plan. So the point here is it's the value of your company, and it's what you will sell when you want to leave this business, because they want to know what you did and how you made all your money. So it's not required for this loan, but you should be doing that, or you should have a plan that explains what your business is all about and how it makes money. You have to get that in, LaShawn.
Absolutely.
And we help you to do that. I should say this. We help you to do your business plan. We don't write it for you, but we will certainly give you all the tools to help you to get this plan in shape. And you can contact any of our counselors, and we have a lot of excellent counselors that will help you put this plan together.
Alrighty. That was our last question.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, there you are. Go ahead.
Really quick. So you know what's the minimum that you guys look in the taxes, like if it's like a young company of a 1 year or something like that, like how much minimum you're looking for?
No, there's no answer to that. There's really no minimum. I mean, it all depends on what you need to keep that company going, what you're asking for. And you're
Okay.
going to be reviewed based on your need and also ability to repay, all right? Being qualified for this, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, Julie says based on the requirement documentation, if you've been in business less than 2 years, then do you or do you not qualify?
Oh, no, you can still apply for this as long as you have been in business before this all started. And because I just had a client who was only in business for a little over a year, and he's going to be he's qualified to fill out the application and send it in.
All right, Julie, you are unmuted. Do you have any additional questions? I guess not.
No.
Okay. N.I. Brooks, is there a P&L monthly or balloon payment after the calendar year? No.
No, I mean, if you don't pay it back after the year, it'll go right to 12%. On the day after, if you're negligent in paying it back, they want all the money. It has to be paid in full by that date. So if you're only paid half and you come to the end of the year, they're going to assess that 12% right off the bat.
And
So
yes,
can I ask then, oh, I'm sorry, can I follow up that question with it? So we can, as far as terms, we could pay as much or as little during the calendar year to pay off the bridge loan, as
Absolutely.
long as at the end of the calendar year, it's okay. That's what I wanted to clarify.
That's right.
Thank you.
You can pay it off. There's no interest. You pay what you can as you go. I would always suggest that. I would also say that once you are a business that has satisfactorily paid back an SBA loan, you're in a better position to get other loans.
mhm. The recording will be sent to everyone if you registered for this for this webinar. It'll be sent out to you within the next 48 hours.
All right, let me just.
Thank you.
All
Oh,
right.
you're so welcome.
Just
Great help.
don't forget, make phone calls, call us before you do anything. Make sure you have all your documents together, and glad to help anybody. And certainly we're here to help you through all of these trying times.
Great. And everybody's panicked because we think this is going to be forever. No, we're going to get better situation, and we're going to be able to pay that loan and many more. And
Right.
this is beautiful. You guys are doing this. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well,
Oh,
you're
thank
very
you.
welcome. Okay.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Be encouraged. Okay, Pete,
Yep.
I think that you're done. They're starting to hang up now.
All right. All right.
I'm going to stop the
Did we
recording.
miss any? I mean, these questions came in different